to go back and yeah, to what Dennis. So okay.
And also, since I think we have 30 minutes allocated, and it's 10 questions, which as of right now leaves already less than 3 minutes per question. So we'll probably barely scratch the surface on any of these. So take it more as a launch pad than like an in-depth analysis of each of these.
So initially 30 to 60 minutes, but yeah, this is going to be a speed fire round. It literally is scratching the surface. So yeah, there will be some time for questions at the end, so please put it in the chat. But yeah, okay, off we go. Oop. Okay, Dennis, what is Bitcoin?
And you asked. Bitcoin is many things. It's the oldest, most prominent cryptocurrency, which means that it is a decentralized money that works on or with and only with a blockchain, in this case the Bitcoin blockchain, that cannot be controlled, and that is one of the foremost and most desirable effects, that cannot be controlled or capped or influenced in its monetary aspects by any governing body. It has a lot of socioeconomic implications. So basically it's probably mostly started as a socio-anarchist sort of experiment, which has major real-world implications in terms of what finance theory, money theory, and so on implies. So Bitcoin is a little bit of teaching economics to nerds, and you can dive down many a rabbit hole when you decide on which facet of Bitcoin is the most interesting to you. Is it the get rich quick? Is it the trading? Is it the fact that you can launder your money? Is it the fact that it gives the middle finger to the state? Is it the separation of money and the state? Is it the fact that it's not that it can't be printed into oblivion like our currencies are currently being? So the answer is not really easy, but I would encourage each and every one of you to basically read up a little bit. And there's so many aspects to it that I bet everybody in the school will find a certain aspect that they can latch onto with Bitcoin, and then basically branch out from there. It's the whole concept is like 7 pages long. The math isn't super complicated. It's a very clean and very mathematically simple or beautiful concept, which, if you're so technically inclined, is okay-ish to grasp. But everything that springs from that simplicity and all the implications, they go all the way down, as I said, many rabbit holes. And I don't want to basically force you to go down this or that rabbit hole. I'll let you choose your own adventure, but I will promise you that it is an adventure and it is exciting, and you will find something that will fascinate you and will eat a lot of your free time if you have any left in the future. So yeah, that was a pretty personal answer, because for me Bitcoin is life with a Y. So if you dare open your mind to it and kind of follow some people on Twitter, do some Medium reads, read the white paper, and there's a couple of very good books that we can also share a link maybe later, a list of required or recommended reading for beginners. Then yeah, it will grab you.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, it's a very big rabbit hole, or a very deep rabbit hole. But, the second one is, okay, a little bit deeper. How does Bitcoin work?
So I'll assume that basically the average technical level is beginner or even less. So basically what happens is that whenever someone makes a transaction on the Bitcoin blockchain, the transaction is recorded. And then all the transactions that are recorded in one block are summed up. And that mathematical function is used as a starter for the next block. And then again, all the transactions that happen here are being recorded in the block. And then the average of those is being used as the start for next block. This will become very clear once you maybe read the white paper, or there's a couple of good YouTube explanations as well for this that we can share later on. So the point being is that whenever I try to change something that has been a while ago, so whenever I would try to change a transaction, the outcome of a transaction that was, let's say, longer than half an hour or an hour ago, I would have to recalculate all the transactions that come after it. And that makes it very difficult to forge a transaction, because these transactions and these blocks are being brute forced, as we say, by a huge number of machines, computers that are basically just guessing numbers. And once the numbers these computers guess come out to a certain result, a new block is being found. This consumes, and I think we can touch on this later, maybe this consumes an insane amount of electricity, but it is basically, it's called proof of work. And this is the basis for Bitcoin transactions being so secure. I really can't describe how it exactly works without going into technical detail and getting very mathy. But basically everything that's ever happened is inside what's happening right now. And thus you cannot make a change to the history of blockchain or Bitcoin without screwing up all the transactions that come after it, and then thus making it very apparent to the world that someone tried to mess with these transactions. And so basically it's absolutely 110% forgery proof. And that's one of the most important aspects, is that you can be 110% certain that what is or what was recorded is also what happened, which sometimes in your Excel sheets or in your banking statements might not be the case, right? And it's immutable. You cannot go back and change it. That's basically the primary aspect.
Cool. Yeah, I guess this is another topic, but obviously a lot of people assume that, yeah, number one, crypto is used a lot by criminals, which isn't the case. Yeah, so it's good to know it's, yeah, safer than fiat, or safer than money. Okay, question number 3. Why should I be interested? This is said with a bit of sass.
Well, because it's to put it simply, because it's the future, right? You can make a transaction with anybody in the world without asking anybody's permission. So it is basically pure financial freedom, right? If I send $10,000 to someone in Australia, it takes forever. It costs fees. They will probably screw me over in exchange rates, and then they will probably probe whoever I send the 10K to, why and how and for what grounds I would feel required to send him money. We see that with banks. You often get inquiries of where the funds come from, the legality is being questioned, taxes are being levied, etc., etc. So using Bitcoin as part of your financial tool set gives you an unprecedented amount of freedom to transact. One of the toasts that we would have in one of the early Bitcoin meetups was to freedom of transaction, because nobody would ever tell you what to do and how to do. Maybe the story how I came across Bitcoin is I wanted to wire 500 euro to Japan to buy Bitcoin there at an exchange, and my bank wouldn't let me, because I had never done a transaction to Japan before, so it was deemed insecure, and they blocked my account, and I had to go in and explain them why I wanted to wire 500 euros to Japan. And they basically did the explaining for Bitcoin. I immediately understood what Bitcoin was good for, and that one of the prime qualities of Bitcoin is financial freedom, independence, and also sovereignty, but also, and maybe we can touch on this later, also responsibility, because once your Bitcoin are stolen, there's nobody to call and to please get them back or book them back to your account, right?
I think that's quite a scare when you're first starting getting into Bitcoin and you hear that, like, there's no fall safe. I think it can be quite scary for newcomers as well. I always make sure that I have my keys on a safely stored, but yeah.
Well, with great power comes great responsibility and vice versa, right? So
exactly. Exactly.
If you want to reap the power and the of Bitcoin, then you have to act responsible. But we'll talk about wallets in a minute, I guess.
So question number 4, how the heck do I get started? I'm adding this up.
Well, I wouldn't be a good Nuri employee if I didn't chill Nuri, right? So open a Nuri account. No, seriously, you can probably go to any exchange. I'm guessing most here are in mainland Europe. So there's Binance, there's Bitstamp, there's Kraken, there's a couple of others as well. There's also Bitcoin.de or Börse Stuttgart or even just Nuri. Basically, that you can wire some money over there and just buy a little bit of Bitcoin. I think for me personally, and I think that goes for most people in this regard, seeing is believing and trying. So there is no try. You just have to do it. You just have to jump over your shadow, as we say in Germany, and buy that $50 of Bitcoin. And even if it gets lost or you screw it up or you don't know what to do with it, or you just having it in your wallet and seeing how it behaves and how it works is already worth a whole lot. And I think it's way better since Bitcoin is virtual. Well, it's not virtual, it's digital. It's not something that you can put on a nightstand and look at and slowly start getting to terms with it. You really have to touch it, and touching Bitcoin, the only way to do it is to have it on your mobile phone in a wallet and have an exchange account where you can buy and sell and do some transactions, right?
I know
maybe
at
your next meetup.
Oh, sorry, you're gone.
Maybe at your next meetup, someone can just stock up on a couple of dozen of euros of Bitcoin and help people to install a wallet and then just do some transactions. Maybe even start with Lightning, which is really cheap to transact with. Then that's already pretty advanced for most people, but it's really easy. It's really easy to use. I mean, nobody understands economic theory and money velocity, but we still use money, right? And the same with Bitcoin. You don't really have to understand it in depth to use it. And I think using it is the first step to understanding it, though.
Cool. I was going to ask, I know we're a bit biased towards Nuri, but would you recommend any other exchanges in Germany?
No.
Okay. So not if you, okay.
Well, I know, so we're all friends, right? So Bitcoin.de is very usable. Bison is usable. Kraken, Bitstamp, they're all, none of them is like exactly horrible, but obviously. And I don't have a referral link for you, sadly. But okay. I'd love for Nuri to reap this esteemed audience here as customer base.
Cool. Question 5. What type of wallet should I get as a beginner?
As a beginner, it's probably easiest to just you just go to the Android store or the Apple store on your phone and use install the 2 or 3 most popular wallets on your phone, right? You don't have to go through the lengths to make a paper wallet or to buy a Trezor, like a hardware wallet, to make it really secure. I think for the first type of wallets, it's really easy. It's really important to have ease of use, right? One of the best wallets that came out in the last couple of months is Moon, M-U-U-N. That's really easy to use. It supports SegWit, Taproot, and Lightning. So you have it all in one box. Blue Wallet is really nice. The Schildbach wallet is from, come again?
SegWit is and Lightning.
Yeah, that's not really important to understand right now in the beginning, but it's important so that once you do a transaction, you can play around with the different modes, right? Even if it's at your next meetup or your first meetup, everybody has the same wallet and you can just send back and forth a couple of Bitcoin and just get the first couple of miles on the speedometer. I'm going for really horrible figures of speech here. I'm truly sorry, but just to get some hands-on experience, it's really good to kind of go for one wallet that you just feel comfortable with and that's easy to use. And Moon and Blue Wallet, for example, are the ones that come to mind right now.
Okay.
And later on, once you've had your uncle's inheritance, right? If you have a couple of 10,000, then you really need to go and do some research on hardware wallets, on backups, on seed phrases. But that's really a topic in and of itself, and probably best done face-to-face in a physical location, just because it requires a little bit of back and forth, call and response, question and answer, and can't just be taught, right, like on a lecture.
So what are the main advantages of using a wallet on an exchange, for example?
Well, one point that I would make is do not leave your crypto on an exchange. I mean, if it's just $50, sure. But if you really want to use it or just make sure that you own it and not the exchange, you should really put it on a wallet, right? And then one of those that I just mentioned is perfectly sufficient. Once you come into the area of where the value of that crypto or that Bitcoin becomes a matter of concern to you, then you need to take one step forward. But I think even leaving it on Kraken or on Bitstamp or on Nuri's vault, like the self-custodial wallet in the app where you have the private keys and not the company, is sufficient and is comfortable enough to use even for novice users.
Okay, what's the difference between custodial and non-custodial then?
So custodial wallets mean that you give your crypto to someone and they hold it for you under the promise that you will surely get it back. Basically, all normal banking services are custodial. You give them your money and they lend it out and work with it, and then you hope if you go to the ATM you get it back, right? So basically you give your money into someone else's custody. And self-custody, that should be self-explanatory, is where you go through the process of creating that wallet and owning the private keys, so the secrets to accessing the crypto that is on that wallet. But you have to be extra careful not to lose that secret and to make backups of those keys and treat them very carefully. That goes back to the aforementioned power responsibility pair of problems that we have. Either you have it very easy with a custody wallet or you have it very secure, and there's little middle ground.
Okay, cool. Thanks for that. Question number 6. Oh, that was a bit of a glitch in the matrix. What trading basics should I know?
There's only one basic for trading, and it's called don't. Don't. Right. So if you are in front of your computer 8, 10, 12 hours a day and you're doing this professionally and you have all the knowledge and the funds required to run positions that don't exceed like 2 or 5% of your net worth and still be meaningful, then by all means trade, right? I mean, I spent like now 20 years as a trader, and if you do this professionally, you come to your job in the morning at 7 and you do nothing else, and then you switch off at 6 p.m. or something, and someone else takes over with equal or even better skill set, and they do it then at night. And in the next morning, you then take over, but none of it is ever unsupervised and not managed. And if you're a normal person like I try to be these days, that it just isn't the life. So there's a saying, time in the market beats timing the market. So if you are interested in Bitcoin and you want to just build a little bit of crypto knowledge on the side and maybe $100 a month or so, then there's no reason for you to trade, really. You should invest or save, but not trade. It's really the most important thing, not to trade or not try to trade and try to be outsmart everybody. There's so many smart people in trading and so many computers and algos that are way faster and way better than you and can compute all that is much better. People shouldn't generally.
Okay, very hard-hitting advice there. Would you recommend?
It's tough love.
Tough love, yeah. Would you recommend any, for example, like dollar cost averaging or something like that?
Exactly, right. I mean, if you really are in it for the long term, which you should be, and then you should just very stubbornly do X amount per week or per month and not even look at the price and just leave it there. And if you really want to use Bitcoin to, I don't know, pay for your coffee, which is absurd, or transact on a daily level, then you should have a separate like cash account sort of structure where you have your liquid Bitcoin for daily use, right? The other stuff should just be somewhere where you can't get to really quickly and make stupid mistakes like selling.
Okay. Next question. How do I learn about crypto?
Well, you've done the first step. You're here, right? And I'm trying. An old white man is trying his very best to kind of tell you all about it and make it seem exciting. I hope that works out for you guys. There's so much, as I said at the beginning, there's so much about crypto, and for me, it's always Bitcoin, not crypto. There's so much about Bitcoin that that's there just to discover, and everybody will have a certain facet that interests them about it. I think just going on Twitter, follow a couple of people that tweet about Bitcoin. Try to distinguish between influencers and scammers and people who are really in it for the tech. There's a lot of good literature out there, but I think the first step is to find out what exactly interests you about Bitcoin or crypto, as it were, and then basically follow down that rabbit hole and just let yourself drift. And maybe you come to a junction where you say, well, this isn't interesting anymore. NFTs, I don't really care about NFTs. I'm going to go back and research something else. I'm going to do decentralized finance. I will try to take my $5,000 and put them somewhere in interest. And then maybe that is something that the person next to you might not be interested in, but everybody will find something that's interest for them. And also just talk to people. And I think this is why this is such an awesome space. Find a space where you can ask stupid questions, because you know, people like me who have been in this like for now 10-ish years, that we might have completely different discussions. In Berlin, there's every first Thursday there's a Bitcoin Stammtisch at Friedrichter. Everybody's welcome there to come and ask them questions, because a lot of veterans are there, people that really are like my generation and a bit more even. And other than that, basically just don't go for the first Google result. Read the white paper and I don't know, follow your interests, and hope that you get hooked as much as myself and Zoe are.
I actually started out in room 77. So room 77 was the first Bitcoin bar in Berlin, and that's where the Stammtisch was hosted the first Thursday of every month. So I really recommend attending meetups like our meetup like we're doing now. I think this is the first step to gaining knowledge and just empowering yourself to understand crypto and Bitcoin. So yeah, give yourself a pat on the back because you're on the right track. So yeah, I can't really see my screen.
I just have one question just about how can you get the Bitcoin white paper? You just go to bitcoin.org.
Yeah.
And there's a white paper. I think there should be, or you just Google Bitcoin white paper. It's a PDF. It's really small. Just download it, read it.
I think, do we have one? Okay. One last question, and then the floor is yours. So like Dennis said, no stupid question. There's no stupid questions in this. All questions are accepted. So this is your platform. So we'll be the last two are reserved for you. But if we go over time, that's absolutely fine. I don't know about your schedule, Dennis. You're a busy man. So yeah, what are the best tips for those starting up now?
Yeah.
Hopefully not staring.
We're staring up to the heavens, asking for the best tips to invest. Exactly. Yeah, someone just posted the Coinbro link, and you can basically just branch out from there on Twitter, for example. I wouldn't say TikTok and Instagram are very good resources for crypto. I think Twitter and Medium are the ones that are best. And lots of Discord channels. I think I'm up to 80 Discords now. It's horrible, but there's always something interesting there. And it just bears repeating. Zoe, I will send you a couple of links and books that you can then maybe shoot over to the group in the Telegram or Discord that are really good starting points. But don't lose hope if you don't get it in the first place. I think you should also focus on Bitcoin and not all the other cryptocurrencies and tokens and coins and what's nots that are out there, because they are it's taking a lot of attention from Bitcoin. And I have to make this really clear. Bitcoin is trying to be the best money that's out there, right? It's supposed to be sound money, being that it's scarce and deflationary and easy to transact with. And then there's Ethereum and Solana and all these other blockchains that are basically there to fuel a huge ecosystem of financial applications, right? So I always say Ethereum is like the in-app currency or the in-game currency for DeFi or for NFTs, right? But Bitcoin is money. So you might have done yourself a service or disservice by inviting a Bitcoin maxi like me to this place. Maybe someone else would give you another story and tell you how Solana or Avax or Luna is the hottest shit in town and you really need to get into it. If you are a beginner, start with Bitcoin, understand why it's there, what's the mission and vision of Bitcoin, and then look at Ethereum and what you can do on Ethereum, although it has different qualities than Bitcoin, and then just the whole universe of crypto will be open for you. Just don't get overwhelmed. There's thousands of cryptocurrencies out there. Most of them can be subsumized under shitcoins, which is a technical term that's also been uttered in US Congress already. So I'm saying it here with the knowledge that it is the correct term for most of these currencies. And then there's Bitcoin, and then there's Ethereum, and then there's a bunch of others that might be interesting.
I think that's
to look at.
interesting for our members as well, just starting out. Like obviously Bitcoin is the most famous one, but there are alternatives out there. And when you're just starting out, I think this can get a bit overwhelming. So would you say start Bitcoin and then go to Ethereum and have a play around with that? Or do you just say, like, I know you're a Bitcoin maximus and you're a diehard Bitcoin fan, but where would you start if you do want to buy altcoins in the future?
So I'm a maxi, but I'm not an exclusivist, right? So I use Ethereum every day. I do my DeFi, my NFTs, all that stuff is all on Ethereum. And my Bitcoin is just there because there's not a whole lot you can do with it. Bitcoin is money, and you don't take out your money and count it every day just because it's fun. You just, it has a purpose. It appreciates in value, hopefully, just like everything else. And all the operations are done on other blockchains. But if you just want to understand the concept of a blockchain, then I think Bitcoin, proof of work, why does this make sense? Why is it so important to have decreasing block rewards? Why is it every 10 minutes? What are miners? Why do you have miners and nodes and users? So these are all already pretty advanced topics. But once this kind of clicks, you will have a much better understanding of other blockchains and their role or their mission or their functioning and interactions with each other. But it's really important to understand the one thing first, right? There's another question about DeFi in here.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll just go to, hold on, my computer. Yeah, so question 9 and 10, the floor is yours. If there are already questions, then go for it because my site is limited right now. So do you just want to?
Someone asked about DAOs and DeFi. So basically what a DAO is a digital autonomous organization, DAO, where basically people govern an organization by voting with their tokens. I don't know if that makes sense to most of you. So basically the more of a certain token you have, the more voting power you have, and then you can influence decisions. And basically it's a very basic democratic principle, and in my experience, for the most part, it doesn't work because a community oftentimes needs a couple of people who lead the way, and then people will just vote with them or go with the best. Because if they have 150,000 people or 10,000 or even 12 or 3 people who basically all have the same say, then nothing ever gets done, right? So it's a meritocracy. Most of all, and then people can still act as if they're voting on stuff, right? And how DeFi works, that's probably a topic for another hour-long session. But basically, you can build most of the financial products that we have: lending, borrowing, trading on the blockchain, with the help of smart contracts, where you can then interact without, and that's the most important part, without having to trust a bank or institution or a government or whoever. Although smart contracts have their own pitfalls in terms of security, so it's not for everybody. Environment, yeah, that's a touchy topic. I think the latest number is Bitcoin uses as much electricity as, I don't know, the Netherlands or Ireland or Finland or whatever. Yeah, can't really argue with that. It's just, I think the last year Germany spent 50 billion on subsidizing coal. I don't even know how much. I don't even want to know how much energy that is, like, put into in kilowatts that are dug out of the ground with my tax money. So if there was a way for the government to stop please subsidizing coal and use Bitcoin instead, then maybe we're net positive on green energy.
It's always a debate, isn't it? So
it's a horrible, it's a really difficult discussion to have, because obviously if you just take the electricity that Bitcoin and other proof of work blockchains use, then obviously it looks bad. But if you consider the mission, the vision, and the socioeconomic impact these technologies have or might have in the future, then maybe it's okay for now. I'm not sure, actually. What if there's a war? Well, then I think we have other problems. But there are technologies around that allow you to transact without relying on your desktop computer. There are technologies where you can receive the blockchain through TV satellite, right? And where you can broadcast the transaction. It might be a bit slower, but it is definitely possible to use Bitcoin without, having telecom or pure with 100 gigabit in your living room. And there are also blockchain-driven mesh. So basically, there are blockchain-driven initiatives that just need electricity to basically provide large coverage, at least in cities, for private-to-private internet transactions. And that is already enough. That's enough to transact. You can watch a movie, and you wouldn't download Wikipedia, but you could, send a couple of Satoshi to someone for a loaf of bread.
What is Satoshi, Dennis?
So a Satoshi is the smallest undivisible unit of a Bitcoin. Satoshi Nakamoto is the pseudonym of the person or the group that wrote Bitcoin. And yeah, I think 100 million Satoshi make one Bitcoin. Don't quote me, I forgot how many zeros.
It's a lot of zeros. And Satoshi Nakamoto?
Satoshi Nakamoto is basically the supposed creator of Bitcoin. Either he's these persons are really good at keeping their mouth shut, or they're deceased, or I don't know. Nobody has ever found them, and there have been huge. So they have mined possibly the first million Bitcoin, and they have never moved, right? So the assumption is that they don't have access, or are in prison, or dead, or just are really good at keeping their mouth shut.
Nice. Any other questions? I'm still blind.
Again? Yes, Bitcoin has a fluctuating price, obviously, because Bitcoin is pure numbers, right? You don't have anybody saying this is worth this and that much. That is also why, at least from my perspective, it's a very long-term play. So if you zoom out and you don't look at the price every 5 minutes, but you look at the price every, I don't know, 5 months or so, or 5 days or 5 weeks, you might notice a trend which is very slightly ever so upward pointing. So the play here is not to trade and not to spend it. You usually want to spend bad money, which is fiat, and you want to keep the good money, which is Bitcoin, and basically just hoard that shit until you're old, and then inherit it to your grandkids or something, but never ever cash out. It's a little Ponzi-esque that way. So basically you're always hoping that someone else will someone else's Bitcoins for a bit more than you paid for it. But since it's deflationary, the incentive to spend it is really not given, right? And it is possible to buy stuff with Bitcoin. There's lots of services like Bitrefill that allow you to buy Amazon vouchers and pretty much all kinds of vouchers with Bitcoin and buy with them. And then if you go to El Salvador, you will even be able to pay your local McDonald's with Lightning Network with Bitcoin.
I'm surprised no one's asked you about any trading hacks or price of Bitcoin profits.
Well, yeah, maybe I've made it a little bit too clear that I disapprove of trading for the average person.
Yeah.
Which coins will be used in the future to buy products? Could be any number of coins. They have been experiments with local currencies, so it could be any number of coins, whatever they're called. I just think that in the end, it will all circle back to Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin is basically the reserve currency. Someone asked in chat a couple of minutes ago if I think Bitcoin is digital gold. Yeah, a little bit like that. Since gold was backing all the fiat currencies, and then in 71 or 2, the United States abandoned the gold standard, so the US dollar isn't covered by gold anymore. And so the world's looking for something else to back their currencies by. So if you want to issue, I don't know, the Germany coin, then and everything's digital, then maybe this will trace back to Bitcoin. And whenever you do a transaction in Germany coin or in Europe coin or local Berlin Neukölln coin, then if you have a profit, you will turn that back into Bitcoin and keep your reserve as Bitcoin. And my take on El Salvador, yeah, pretty amazing. There's this joke where people say nobody uses Bitcoin. Well, only thieves use Bitcoin. Well, only nerds use Bitcoin, and then it goes up and up, and then well, only small companies use Bitcoin, and then it comes to Tesla, and well, only small countries use Bitcoin, and so basically you can see a progression of nobody uses this to well, only small countries use it, and now Tonga, before they were hit with the earthquake or tsunami, they were also looking into some Bitcoin shenanigans. So I think we are well to adoption, and I think it makes sense that those countries that are hit the hardest by the I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but by international money markets that are suffer the most by being subject to being made rules for and not making the rules, that these countries go out on a limb first and embrace Bitcoin as a matter of preserving their own financial independence and freedom. No, you cannot mine Bitcoins with your average laptop. These years are long gone. You need a metric shit ton of electricity and equipment, and for that you might want to go to Iceland and rent a glacier or some hydrothermal nuclear reactor, or to China and burn some very dirty coal. So in mainland Europe, it's not profitable to mine Bitcoin with any equipment. Victoria, I don't know what Trade Republic, if you can withdraw from Trade Republic, but it's at least it's custodial, right? Which was something that we talked about a minute ago. So Trade Republic will hold your crypto for you, and if you buy your stuff on, hold your crypto on MetaMask, you have the keys in your browser, which I don't know might make you uneasy because it has its risk. And also, I don't think MetaMask accepts euro. I think if you are coming from euro, you need to go through a service like Nuri or Trade Republic or whatever to get your Bitcoin or your Ethereum, and then you can take that out and put it wherever you want and make full use of it. But then you're out of the banking realm of responsibilities and surveillance. Yeah, I will definitely join the Discord. Thank you for reminding me, because since I got so politely thrown out of the Telegram group, because I really love using Telegram, and Discord is just so noisy at times. But I'll be sure to turn up there.
Sorry about that. We have Telegram is a safe place for.
Yeah, it's fine. You don't want any people like me in there. Yeah, it's fine. How do we take out Bitcoin? You don't. That's the whole point, right? You can sell it to me for euro, and then you have euro, and I have Bitcoin. But there is no such thing as like real physical Bitcoin. Like there's coins that have a private, they have a wallet on them with a sticker on it, and then you can pretend that's physical money. But Bitcoin is a purely digital item, and you cannot make it physical. That's what I said in the beginning. If you want to touch it, basically you need to have it on your phone. You can see the numbers and you can press a button and send it away, and then the numbers change. But that's the extent of physical interaction you have with it, I think.
I think a cold wallet is also quite touchy, a Trezor wallet.
Yeah, but it's not physical money, right? It's still Trezor can go kaput, or the chips can go haywire, and in the end it comes down to the seed phrase, to the 12 or 24 words which you can import wherever. What are Bitcoin whales? So I don't know where. The whales are basically people with large Bitcoin holders, and then there's dolphins and mackerels and fish and sharks and whatnot. So there's a whole animal taxonomy, like a marine taxonomy applied to the different actors in the crypto space. And yes, they can influence the price of Bitcoin. If someone has 5,000 Bitcoin and they sell them all in one exchange, in one transaction, well, obviously the price is gonna suffer a little bit. But I think if Elon Musk tweets, or if someone sells 100 Bitcoin and the price changes, that just shows how immature the market still is, and how easily influenced and how shaky and a little bit scared everybody is about their money. This is also why you shouldn't try to react on these events and trade them, or try to predict what the whales are doing and all that stuff. It's just nonsense. For a normal person, in the long run, it does not make sense. Exactly, plankton. We're just krill. Krill? What's the English word for that? I don't know. Is that plankton?
Skrill, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Definitely a lot of fish terminology there.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Have all the questions been answered? You are my eyes.
What does it mean to mine Bitcoin? Yes, we did have that. Physical money, yep. War, yes, talked about that.
War.
There's a good book, yes. Twitter, Discord, Telegram.
Yeah, so I think that's a good point. Everything, like any reading material that Dennis recommends, I will either send an email around, or if you're in the Discord or the Telegram, I will post a link to all the reading materials just so you can get a good head start.
Yeah.
I also recommend the Bitcoin Standard as the standard book, of course, but there are so many, and yeah, I'll get that list for you. Cool.
Right.
If that's everything, because I'm still blind, I will say thank you to that. Yeah, this is your last one. Dennis, you're always tweetable. I did have your Twitter here, but it's gone. I will put your Twitter on the list of literature that you're going to send. So thank you very much.
Yeah, follow me on the Twitter. I'm putting it into that chat.
Yeah,
this is my Twitter handle. I can always use on the road to, I don't know, 2000 or something. Let's go.
Show off your very expensive CryptoPunk.
Yeah, you can definitely dive into NFTs and DeFi, and if you follow me on Twitter, you get lots of shit posting, but also the occasional interesting content. You can see my NFTs. It's the OpenSea link is on my Twitter.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Dennis. I think that was really insightful.
Anytime.
We will be going a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole. This was just literally scratching the surface. I think, as Dennis said, it goes really, really far. But yeah, if you have any questions, just shoot them in the Discord, and we'll be happy to ask them, because we want you to start your crypto journey. Cool.
All right.
So
awesome group you have here, and really, really cool initiative. Love it.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Happily be back. Anytime. Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Cheers.
I'm gonna wait for everyone to leave first. Before I leave it. Thank you for taking over the host, Irina. I really needed that.
Sure, no worries. That was my pleasure.
Amazing. Maybe you can.
Thank you for organizing everything.
I will end the session and upload it to YouTube now. So cool. All right.
Sweet. Have a good one. Stay safe, everyone. Bye.